Okay. Good afternoon, teacher. My name is Ricardo Lopez, and in this video, I'm gonna talk about how the coronavirus pandemic has changed our lives, okay? Well, in fact, the pandemic has changed how we work, learn, and interact, as social distancing guidelines have led to a more virtual existence, both personally and professionally. That is why some aspects of daily life that have changed due to the coronavirus pandemic will be presented below. The number one is energy and emissions, a change for change. The usage of energy has typically fallen by up to 20% for each month of lockdown, creating what the IEA has described as a prolonged Sunday of extended low-level consumption. Also, home working has increased domestic electricity use by around 40%. This has not been enough to offset the demand lost due to the closure of offices and factories. Overall, global power use is predicted to fall by around 6% in 2020 compared to the previous year. The other prominent trend has been the increase in renewable energy production and use. Anthony Frogat, Deputy Director of the Energy, Environment and Resources Program, says that this experience shows that renewables technologies can overcome intermittency issues, in the case of Europe at least, and that existing grids are able to cope with a higher percentage of renewable, and also in the last 6 months, renewables have jumped to a place we would have expected to see them reach in the next 5 years or more. The number two is dramatically inhibited travel. During lockdown, countries including the US reported drops in road traffic to levels not seen since the 1950s. At their peak, the number of vehicles on the road fell by more than 70%. Air travel has plummeted by around 80% global, with the Europe most affected and the UK's Heathrow Airport reporting a 97% decline in passenger numbers in April 2020 compared to 2019. Many airlines are facing collapse in the absence of forced government bailouts, and the future of the travel industry is uncertain. The number three is work is being redefined. The value placed on different members of the workforce and supply chains has been temporarily, at least, redefined. There has been some increased recognition of key workers and essential frontline staff, from health and care workers to teachers, supermarket staff, and delivery drivers. Working from home has become standard for millions of white-collar employees, replacing daily commutes and meetings with flexible hours and virtual conference calls. Some organizations have been quick to jettison expensive city offices, with sectors such as finance and technology reporting unquestionable higher productivity and happier staff with the new work-life balance. The number four is big tech. The big tech has both winners and losers. Sofia Ignatieff, an associate with the International Security Program, says we will likely see a rise of robots, with the supermarkets already using them to package goods and Italian hospitals even employing robots to disinfect wards. That because employers may see potential in outsourcing more tasks to countries with lower labor cost, or impose employee surveillance technologies to ensure and quantify productivity. The use of big data, AI, and technology such as facial recognition has played a huge role so far in the pandemic. Technological applications from research to compliance monitoring seem to have been effective and or controversial in almost equal measure. As an example of the latter case, tracing apps have been criticized for their lack of privacy safeguards, and digital immunity certificates have been called a looming disaster by Privacy International. Number five is fragility of food supply has been exposed. Many were surprised at how easily the fragility of just-in-time economies of food supply was exposed even with massive state interventions behind the scenes in parts. This was because shortages were actually driven more by increases in demand with panic buying rather than by reduced supply. The pandemic has highlighted the importance of smaller and local supply networks that manage to respond and adapt rapidly to local communities' needs when national and international chains were interrupted. Okay, that's all from my part. Thank you for your time and your attention.